Why is everyone mad about the Rittenhouse trial? I think there's also a big dissonance between what is being said during the trial and what is being reported in the news. I think there are a lot of thought-provoking comments being made here, and I appreciate the mostly civil tone. I think one of the reasons people are struggling with this case is how it demonstrates just how different the law works from how people think it works. The public may be shocked to learn that standing outside of a business armed is not in itself a threatening action. I will also throw out that a lot of people seemed shocked that bad judgment does not mean someone has broken the law. It might, but not the way you expect it to. The what if I think about is, what if Gage Grosskreutz shot and killed Rittenhouse? He testified that he thought he was going to be shot. Would that be self-defense given the circumstances leading up to that moment? Edit to remove the comment about the gun going across state lines. Casually sorts by controversial. The short story is that people decided he was guilty long before now. Those same people are now upset that he might not get what they feel he deserves. Same people who are so sure they are right will move from this story to the next one with the same level of surety and without an ounce of introspection on how they could feel so right yet be so wrong. Essentially what happened was, most of Reddit and major media outlets made up their minds about what happened. And many are having a hard time accepting the truth now that the actual facts and evidence are coming to light in court. I'm not mad about the self-defense argument being made. If you look at that specific point in time of the shooting, I think that is a valid argument. The question for me is intent and why he was there in the first place. It helps me to look at other protests, riots in the past couple of years. On January 6th, I had a conversation with a family member that is ex-military. He asked me why the Capitol Police didn't open fire on the seditionists that invaded the Capitol building. Should liberal gun owners, yes, there are some, have gone to the Capitol building to counter-protest the Trump supporters? Would they have been justified to open fire in self-defense when the violence started? My state had armed protests against mask mandates and lockdowns at the beginning of COVID-19. Should pro-lockdown supporters have armed themselves and counter-protested? My opinion is that attending a protest or counter-protest armed is a bad idea. That is for both sides. My biggest concern is what happens if the precedent for attending any protest involves arming yourself for protection. I also don't think the point of the justice system is to define truth. It's to provide due process to each individual. There are plenty of cases where that doesn't happen, but it is what we strive for. I'm unclear about your last question using the phrasing of man and kid. Are you implying that Kyle is more innocent because of his age or should have been treated differently because of it? They don't want justice. They want to be correct. I'm not mad. I'm concerned. My concern is that the worst people will take the wrong lesson from his acquittal and we'll regularly see folks in tactical gear with rifles show up to help the police the next time there's any kind of demonstration, peaceful or otherwise. I think a lot of people are concerned about where this trial leaves us as a society. I'm a gun owner and I'm worried that this case and its verdict will encourage more people to step into difficult circumstances, like this protest. Brandishing firearms, I can see the self-defense angle, but I am really concerned that more and more people who are not mature enough either chronologically or emotionally will see this as in tacit approval for using violence, or the threat of violence, to respond to situations that could be diffused. It is really frustrating to see the slide into vigilantism. largely because Rittenhouse became a symbol, and his acquittal, which now seems quite likely, will be taken and used as a political victory by the right. The amount of progressives now insisting that he was asking for it is honestly sad. It bodes poorly for America that en masse people stoop so low. Most people are mad, understandably, that he even showed up there in the first place when it wasn't necessary for him to do so. His self-defense may have been justifiable and in accordance to the law. Acceptable, warranting no charges and whatnot. But people do think that in his vigilante act of traveling interstate with an illegally owned rifle, he was looking for a fight. People shouldn't be mad with the justice system. They are transferring their anger on Rittenhouse's poor judgment and moral decisions. Even though he didn't explicitly break any law in his act of self-defense. Onto the justice system because they aren't giving him what he deserves, because they legally can't. This, however, doesn't necessarily make it right by any means. And my stance is that both parties, Rittenhouse and the rioters who attacked him, are complete fuckheads, and a lot could have been prevented with self-constraint. Edit. Wording and rifle, not assault rifle. People seem to be mad because the prosecution has essentially blown the case. I'm a far lefty, pro-BLM, and staunchly anti-gun. However, I've watched a very moment of this trial. He should be convicted on his misdemeanor for carrying underage and should get a ticket for violating curfew. Murder? No. Manslaughter? No. Kyle was dumb for being there and even more dumb for being there with a gun. But neither of those things mean he loses his right to defend himself. Clear-cut self-defense. I'll never understand it either. There was video proof of a gun being pulled on him, lol. It was self-defense. But that kid went looking for trouble. He went out his way to find trouble, and he did. People died because he wanted to be an action hero, and that to me is the part one finds shitty. We will never know if the same thing would have happened if a gun wasn't pulled. Which in my opinion makes him a dangerous unknown. Because their own ethics are being questioned. Some of it is because of bias from the way it has been reported. I saw on CBS one of the initial reports cut the video right before one guy swung the skateboard at Rittenhouse's head. It made it look like the guy just ran up to him, and then CBS cut the video as though they did not want to show the violence of the gunshot. They then of course didn't even show the video either of Grosskreutz pointed the gun at him before being shot. Even today, CNN states they got him to essentially admit that the gun he possessed was pointed at Kyle Rittenhouse. Classic intentional media reporting. I had already watched the video available online the day before, and the case was open and shut. Except for the very first shooting, because you could only tell Rittenhouse was chased but then couldn't see why he shot Rosenbaum. Honestly, I don't think Rittenhouse should be there playing as a vigilante. But he did kill in the name of self-defense because he was being assaulted. So I already kinda knew the result. Just waiting for it to play out. A lot of people actually hate justice. I mean that. They would rather their ideological echo chamber advance their agenda than true justice be served. If he committed an unjustified murder, then we should want the book thrown at him. If he was defending himself, then we should want him to be free. Instead, this is all made into a political circus by our media, and wow does it show.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.